In this next video, we'll be going through our external factor evaluation. To begin putting together our external factor evaluation, we were given a few baseline assumptions. The first was to focus on the firm, and anything that is external to the firm is considered either an opportunity or a threat. We gathered our EFE factors from the Steeple and Porter analysis. When pulling the factors, we wanted to try and not only reduce the factors, but make them as specific and easy as possible. That way, it would be easier to analyze how they could impact Twitter. The way you eliminate certain factors is by attaching weights and ratings to each of them. The weighting process was industry-oriented, and the rating process focused on the firm's current response or how it could potentially respond. Before being able to give an adequate weight and rating, we had to determine if the factor was first an opportunity or a threat. As explained before, every factor got a weight, and this weighting process focused on the internet media industry, not just Twitter. The weights went from 0, which was not important, to 1, which was very important. The ratings we gave each company were between 1 and 4. 1 meant the company's response was poor, while 4 meant their response was superior. We used a company's 10K and Bloomberg primer to ensure we could give a fair rating. The last step was to give each factor a weighted average. We calculated the weighted average by multiplying the weight by the rating. The first external factor we looked at was the growth opportunities in advertising. We saw this was an opportunity. It was an opportunity because in 2016, global figures showed that there was $180 billion spent in internet advertising. By 2019, this number is supposed to climb to $248 billion. As you can see, there's a lot of growth opportunities for a company like Twitter to kind of capitalize and increase their internet ad revenue. The top companies in this area are Google, Facebook, Yahoo, Twitter, and Microsoft. While these are the top 5 known brands, Google and Facebook happen to dominate this market. Another thing that we looked at within the growth opportunities in advertising was in 2017, global mobile ad revenue is expected to see the end of hypergrowth. While this may sound negative, it's actually still positive and an opportunity because this market's still supposed to see about over 30% year-over-year growth for the next year. The next factor we looked at was social media as a platform for terrorist communications. This is a threat because there's been multiple federal lawsuits stating that they're in violation of the U.S. Anti-Terrorism Act. They've claimed that Twitter's platform has been used to recruit followers, intimidate enemies, and raise money. The next factor we looked at was Twitter's struggle to generate ad revenue while experiencing user growth. For companies like Twitter, it's important that they generate revenue from the activity that is generated from its users. However, it's been noted that as Twitter's user base has continued to expand internationally, the company hasn't necessarily been increasing international revenue at the same rate. For example, users outside of the US constituted for 79% of their average monthly active users at the end of 2016, but Twitter only generated 39% of their revenue from international markets. This is a very important factor to consider when analyzing Twitter. The next factor we looked at was the outlook on the internet and social media industry. This is a threat because companies such as Facebook and Google are investing in these new technologies such as artificial intelligence, virtual reality, messaging platforms. Although these technologies are in nascent stages and unlikely to have a major impact in the foreseeable future, it could prove to be a threat for Twitter if they're unable to generate earnings and make a transition into the future with the rest of the tech sector. The last factor we looked at was user engagement on top social media sites. This is a threat because each user has a specific amount of time that they can allocate towards specific websites each day. As you can see, the average daily time spent, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram all outperform Twitter. And as you can see, it's not a small margin either. YouTube, people spend approximately, that use the service, spend about 40 minutes a day, while Twitter is only about a minute. To fully be successful in the near future, they're going to need to be able to pull up the average daily time spent to be a really selling point for them to generate ad revenue moving forward.